But yeah, I know. Wait, are you for minute? Sherry, yeah. Hear me. Welcome to our Tennessee Athletics Career Pathways panel. We're so glad you're here. My name is Devin Lane. I'm the Director of Career Development here in the College of Communication. This is our first event for the semester, so we are really excited to see all of you. I know I already said that. I also want to introduce a couple of folks who are with us tonight. Buki Abdul in the back is our senior, recently promoted senior career coach. She supports the College of Communication and Information, and she's going to help us with some of our questions tonight. So again, thank you for being here. This is really a great first step in learning more about career pathways in sports communication. And we have some great panelists here with us tonight. I'm going to introduce them here in a moment. But I want to just highlight a couple of quick goals for us tonight. We really want to make sure that this is about you all. So feel free to write in and ask questions. The screenshot was up there with the QR code. So you can ask questions throughout. And we want you to walk away from tonight with an idea of some of the pathways that are available to you, not just while you're here in school, but also post-graduation. Okay, and then we really want to make sure that we highlight some ways for you to gain experiences here on campus. Okay, so be listening out for those things. That's what we're hoping you gain from tonight. If you gain some other things, that's great as well. So before I introduce our panel, I would like to introduce our Dean of the College of Communication and Information. If it wasn't for Dean Mazer, we wouldn't have this event. It was really his idea to get our students connected more closely with our athletics team and media relations. So Dean Mazer, would you like to pop up?
Just a quick word of hello. It's so great to see the room so full of people wanting to know much more about careers in athletics. Super exciting. So thanks to also to Devin and the entire group of in our undergraduate studies at the Biden Center for all their work to pull this together. Just a big welcome. Glad you all are here. I think as students coming out to take advantages of opportunities like this are so important. We talk about it all the time. For careers, not just in this sector of our business, but in other careers, the key to success often is persistence and motivation, wanting to come out and be hungry, learn, and continuing to come back and make great connections and keep those connections alive as you all progress through. So how many of you are gen majors in journalism and electronic media? Yeah, awesome. You know, in the School of Journalism and Electronic Media this year, the major rolled out several new concentrations. One of those concentrations is in the area of sports communication. So for those of you who may be interested in that type of career path or that type of a major, you're in a really good audience. We've been in front of a really good panel this afternoon to learn a bit more about careers in that area. So thanks so much for being here. Hope this afternoon is really beneficial. You have 4 great people. How many of you are alums of this very college? 3 of the 4, right? We're in those chairs a few years ago. Josh is actually starting to teach for us next semester, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so you all can follow in their footsteps, and that journey begins today. With this panel, learning a bit more about careers in sport, but also make sure that you get all your questions answered. Right? I'm sure they're going to be hanging around for one-on-one conversations a little bit after as well. Don't let a question go unasked. Get that advice, get that feedback from them and from anyone else in this college, because there's so many people here thrilled to do what they do and are just so excited to help all of you, so we can help you all be successful. All right. So welcome back, by the way. When I can do the advertisement for Dodge. Thursday. All right, so we're having our dogs, our annual, it's gonna be annual. We did it last year. We're doing it this year again. Our Dogs with the Dean event. How many of you were there last year? Good. It is basically a cookout in front of the communications building. We'll have lunch for everyone next Thursday from 11 to 1. And we'll give out free CCI t-shirts. We got to get them some t-shirts. Free CCI t-shirts. So please stop by. It's going to be great. UTK will be there playing music and fun. So welcome. Glad you all are here and enjoy the panel. Awesome.
Thanks. All right, now we'll introduce our panelists. Hooray. So first up, we have Stacia Patterson. How many of you maybe have heard of Stacia before? Yeah, kind of know what she might do. She's going to share some great information with us. She's our media specialist and producer. Okay, and then Josh Lively is going to be teaching, I guess, next semester. Yeah, Josh. Josh is our assistant media relations director. And then we have Jess Roseberry. Jess is our director of fan experience, and she went to a UT school too, UT Chattanooga. And then we also have Evan Ford with us. He's our associate director for digital branding and design. So we're really excited to have them. Okay, so the way this is going to work, Buki and I have identified a few questions just to get the conversation going. And then we did share, let me go back to that just really quick so you guys can all grab this really quick. If you have questions throughout the panel, you can pull down this QR code and text in your question. Okay, so I'm going to kind of be looking back and forth at Buki. It's not because I'm not paying attention. It's just to make sure we get all your questions answered. Okay, so first up, Stacia, would you mind getting us started and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Don't mind at all. Hey everybody, I'm Stacia. I am a senior director of broadcast here in the athletic department. And so my main job is a producer for the SEC network and ESPN. And basically I lead students in a control room and at the venue and putting broadcasts on air. So we teach students how to do TV. So if you're watching a game at home, 9 times out of 10, if it's a Tennessee home event, it's coming from our control room, and there are students working with really expensive equipment and putting those shows on air. It's a lot of fun. We get real world experience, especially if it's something that you want to do after you graduate. It's the best way to do it. But it's a really fun job. It's something that I enjoy doing. So,
Love it. Thanks, Stacia. How about you, Josh? Can you tell us a bit about you?
Yes, so I'm Josh Lively. I'm the Assistant Media Relations Director. I work specifically with our swimming, diving, and rowing programs. My office has 8 full-timers and 2 graduate assistants, about 17 student interns. Collectively, what we do is promote the athletic department and our programs. Everybody's kind of allocated a certain sport, and we do the press releases on utsports.com. We help run all our social media accounts. We kind of act as a in-between person for our different external areas, so graphic design, fan experience, broadcasting, VFL films, photo, social media, any type like that. We're kind of like the go-between for the teams as well as the different external people. And then we also kind of take lead on doing like the historic stuff, record bookkeeping during the summer, and then updating stats during games. And then I'll also oversee our student intern program. And I'll take this time to plug as team manager has already alluded to. I'll be teaching the sports promotion and branding class in the VR department starting in the spring. So if anybody's interested in taking that, please look it up. It will be the first time class ever taught. You guys can make your own decisions on whether or not I'll be a good professor from today. We'll see, but appreciate y'all coming out tonight.
Thanks, Josh.
I'm Jess Roseberry. I'm the director of marketing and fan experience. So our job is kind of 2 parts. It is to make sure fans know when and where the events are happening. And then the second part is to making sure they have a good time while you're there. So like in our events, when you see the band take the field, when you see videos play, when the fireworks go off, like that doesn't just randomly happen. That's all scripted and it's all planned out in advance. So that's kind of our major role on game day, is the game atmosphere and making sure students are there, students are loud, students are having fun, general fans are there cheering on, everyone's having a good time. So it's a lot of fun. We have crazy ideas and we try to make them all happen. That's basically our world.
Love it. Awesome. All right, Evan, you're up.
Yeah, my name's Evan Ford and I work on our graphic design team. We have an in-house creative team of 151 Creative, that includes graphic design, social media, and photography. And I work on the graphic design. Like I said, I head up our digital branding. So basically anything you see on social media, all our accounts fall under school, football, basketball, swimming, track. I got head up the digital efforts. So you see that on one of those accounts. It's usually coming from one of my team members.
Awesome. Wow, it's just like all the magic behind the scenes that maybe we don't get to see so much. Do any of you have any areas that kind of stood out to you so far? You're like, oh, wow, that sounds really fun, or that's different than what I thought it might be. No. All right, that's all right. We're gonna interact. We're gonna try some things out. They might not land. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for sharing some of your work with us. Is there anything that we might have recognized, like work that you've done, or something you're really proud of, or something that maybe a student would be like, oh, that's so cool, something you might want to highlight from your work or your background?
I'll start.
Thanks, Daisha.
Honestly, and when I say this, I really mean it. My job, what I get to do from day to day is really, really cool. We get to highlight student athletes at a D1 school. And not only that, we get to tell stories about those athletes in game. You get to document the game, tell everyone at home, people all around the country, what's going on with Tennessee basketball, what's going on with Mississippi State basketball if they come to play here. So it's not only that we're covering Tennessee, we also get to cover top talent from all the other SEC schools that come through here. So it's really cool to be able to tell those stories and teach students how to do that. It's really cool to see when a student finally gets something that you've been trying to teach them, for a couple games, and it finally clicks. It's really cool when they bring their own ideas and we implement those into the broadcast. So my favorite part, or what's most cool to me, I guess, is just really working with students to put on the broadcast. And you just have so many people, millions of people sometimes watching the work. So.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, kind of going on what she said, working with broadcast. So before I came back to Tennessee, so I'm an undergrad and grad major from University of Tennessee. After I left here, I went to Mississippi State for 2 years and worked with their women's basketball program, doing what I do. And with that, one of my big duties was to do game notes, which are basically just these packets we hand out to our different media members. But specifically, it goes to our radio and TV broadcasters so that they have all the information they need for a game. And one of the things my boss, when I was in grad school, I worked with our men's basketball team here. One of the big things he taught me was like, we want to win the broadcast. Like every time Tennessee gets on television, or at that time when I was at Mississippi State, anytime we're on TV, I want them talking about my team as much as possible. And obviously, you kind of have to rely on your team, like being successful on the court or on the field. But I would love to like go as in depth as possible, give as much information as I could to these broadcasters, so that basically I was getting free advertising for 2 hours or 3 hours, however long the game was. And so we would kind of work hand in hand with station on that. And then in the same vein, it also goes to other people within athletics, like Evan in graphic design. He may make a graphic or something that would go on our social media accounts to promote things to promote our branding and student athletes. And I'm always kind of behind the scenes. You'll very rarely see an SID in front of a camera or like a camera like this. And that's just because we really like to be behind the scenes and promote our programs, our coaches, our student athletes, instead of putting ourselves. And so I take pride in always trying to broadcast.
Thanks, Josh. You don't have anything to say about it?
For us, the fan experience, like I talked about earlier, like fireworks will just randomly happen, like all of that is planned out. So having a part in providing like the best atmosphere for our student athletes is so fun. And so like at basketball, when our team comes out, there's 20,000 people in the arena and it's extremely loud, like home court advantage is a real thing. So providing that for our student athletes, and then within that, the fan experience, like naturally when there's 20,000 people in top and you're in there, you're not having fun, like that's not possible. So the same thing in Neyland, when there's 99,000 people in there, like it's impossible to not be having fun. And that experience for our student athlete and providing that for home field advantage makes a difference to why people want to come here to play here. So.
I think for me, I work primarily on the digital side of things, do a lot of social media graphics, but whenever I see my graphics made in the real world on a t-shirt or on like a jumbotron, when they kind of make their way into like Tennessee history, that's really cool for me to change logos. Different things like on the tall shop. You know, I see people around campus wearing stuff that I designed, and that's like a really cool feeling.
That's fine. Does anybody have any of Evan's original work on right now? Anybody, anything you see out there?
Thanks.
That's great. Could you guys maybe talk a little bit about how you got started in the field? Did you always know that sports was something you wanted to do? Did you stumble into it? And we don't always have to start with Stacia, by the way, just so you don't feel that pressure, Stacia.
This is the last one, I'll start.
We appreciate it though. We appreciate it, don't we, guys?
Growing up, I just watched a lot of sports. I watched a lot of news. For whatever reason, I don't know what it was. I just always gravitated towards like broadcasting. And I was like, what's going on? Like, how are they putting that on? Like, what is the planning behind all that? I was just always curious about it. So coming into college, I knew I wanted to be in broadcasting, but I had a lot to learn. So I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? What is being in broadcasting? So, took a couple of classes, talked to some people who were on air from like stations back home and things like that. Kind of took initiative to just kind of reach out to people to figure it out and learn. And from there, I honestly kind of stumbled upon the broadcasting department in athletics. And my current boss is my boss then, he taught me a lot. So I really just kind of dove in and got my hands dirty. I did whatever they asked me to do. I showed up for things that they didn't really need me for. I might have been annoying at some point. It's sometimes it's good to be annoying, sometimes not. I got no win. So yeah, I just kind of came in and ran with it. For us, it's really whatever you put into it, that's what you're gonna get out of it. So I got my start in the broadcasting department. Y'all, I'm very nervous. Sorry, I can't speak in front of people. But, so I got my start there with my boss, and from there I was able to take everything that he taught me out to the real world. And I worked in local news for about 2.5 years. And then from there, I did, what I was supposed to do. We had an opening here, and my boss reached out to me and said, hey, you were always a good worker. We had kept in contact and things like that. And so I was able to get back here, and I've been here for about 6.5 years.
Awesome. So networking, kind of holding on to those great contacts. You made a great impression. And getting some experience maybe outside of sports for a little bit, kind of and bringing that back. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so I grew up about 30 minutes west of here in a small town called Harriman, Tennessee. I knew I wanted to be at UT, so I didn't apply anywhere else out of high school. I knew I was coming here. But when I initially applied, I wanted to be a physical therapist, so I majored in kinesiology, which took me about 2 months into my senior year of high school to be like, that was probably not, that's not what I want to do for a living. So I toured the college of communication to look at journalism and electronic media, fell in love with it. It's like, okay, I can see myself doing this. And I wanted to be a sports reporter. I was all in. I was like, I'm ready to be on camera. I wasn't necessarily like the ESPN college game day route, more like just I was willing to work for a TV station. But then as I started to listen to my voice more and more, I was like, I don't know if I can survive anywhere outside of the South. Because I mean, I know you guys probably can't tell, but I have an accent. But so as I was coming in as a freshman, one of my best friends in high school had applied to try and get involved in athletic department. We kind of pitched the idea of like, hey, let's see if we can get involved somewhere. We love athletics. That's why we're coming here to the university. That's why we want to work in the common building. And he had gotten a position with the basketball team. And so then I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll try it. And I just emailed like 6 different departments: marketing, BFL film, media relations, and media relations was the first people that got back to me. And I was all in. I came up, did the interview, fell in love with it, had no idea what it was. No clue. They kind of explained to me, and I left it like, I don't know what he just told me, but let's do it. Like, we're working at press conferences, it's showtime. And I fell in love with it. I kind of got lucky that was a path that was really interesting to me, because in high school, so kind of funny enough, I said we do a lot of writing. I hate writing. That's the one negative of my job, but like I feel like I'm good enough at it that I can sweep by. But I love math, and so like doing stats and like record keeping, I was obsessed with it, and I like immediately fell in love with that. And as I continued on, my sophomore year of college, I ended up taking over as the women's tennis SID, which I did for 4 years. My senior year, I did women's basketball secondary. Then 2 years with our men's basketball team secondary. We won an SEC championship, and then we were ranked number 1 in the country. Made an NCAA tournament both years when I was here. And my success, like team success there, and what I was able to work with athlete wise and like national coverage wise, Gave me the opportunity to leave here and go do women's basketball in Mississippi State. After 2 years there, first year we dealt with COVID, and the second year we dealt with the aftermath of COVID. I was kind of ready to get back, so I came back to Tennessee when they had an opening for swimming, diving, and rowing, and take on the student intern program, which meant a lot to me, considering I came up through it, and I really enjoy like teaching students like everything about what I do and getting them involved. And now I've been back here since July of 2020, so that's how I got to this point.
And thank you for sharing the things that you're not good at, that you maybe don't like about your job, because y'all, there's nothing perfect out there. There's nothing perfect out there. Sometimes when we're in school, we're thinking about like, what is that perfect thing? Don't be disappointed if you find something like that, right? Josh turned that into an opportunity. So thanks for sharing that. All right, Jess, your turn.
I knew I always wanted to work in sports. I just didn't know what area I wanted to work in. I originally wanted to do athletic training. So when I went to the University of Tennessee Chattanooga. So when I started my freshman year, I got an internship within the athletic department with men's basketball, just like doing like office work and helping with admin stuff. So I did that for about a year, and then there was an opportunity to work in the athletic training room, so which is what I thought I wanted to do. So I took an internship in athletic training. As I was in that internship and taking anatomy classes, I was like, this is not for me. So after that, I was going into my junior year of college and figuring out that that's not what I wanted to do. So I talked to a couple other people within the athletic department at UTK, and they're like, explain to me what it is they like to want to do. So after explaining, marketing was like the perfect fit. So I changed my major, kind of started over my junior year and got an internship in the marketing department. So, and that's where I fell in love with doing what I do and haven't looked back since. So junior year, I started in marketing, and then I continued as an internship from a junior and senior year, and then I was offered a GA position within the athletic department in marketing for grad school. So I then got my MBA while continuing to work within the athletic department. And then when I graduated with my MBA, I had experience in the SoCon school, which is a lot smaller conference than obviously SEC. So I wanted to get to the next level and get a little bit more experience before I took a role somewhere else. So Tennessee actually had a post-grad position in the marketing department that was for 1 year. So I was like, I think that would be good for me to apply for and kind of get more experience to get better. So I was lucky enough to get that position here at Tennessee for a year, where my current boss became like a really big mentor for me and helped me get better and adjust to this level. And so at the end of that year, I got an assistant director job at Texas A&M. So first time I left Tennessee, moved across the country 14 hours to get more experience. So I was there for four years and as an assistant director there. And then there was an opportunity to get to come back here last year as the director of marketing. So like I said, working with my current boss that 1 year, he called me and brought me back here. So I've been here now a little over a year, been back over a little bit over a year. So kind of where I got to where I am now.
Another mentor. It's amazing. And you guys hear this persistence. It sounds like all of you kind of had these conversation after conversation after conversation to learn more. It's awesome. And Jess, one thing you had mentioned about pursuing that internship in athletic training and then realizing it wasn't something you wanted to do. I think that's just so valuable, right? It's going out. If there's something you're interested, get that experience, and you're successful now, right? You changed your major junior year, and it wasn't the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
Here she is.
Yeah, if I had that internship, I may not have figured it out. That's really not for me. So look, so it is really important to get your foot in one different areas to see kind of what you're passionate about, what fits with you, and what direction you want to go.
Awesome. All right, Evan. And then we do have one question. So after Evan gives his update here, we'll go to the question.
I was always doodling on my notepad at school, middle school and high school, and I did uniforms, sports logos, that's just like drawn to the kind of aesthetic of sports. So I kind of got into design in high school, did my Photoshop and Adobe programs. And when I came to UT, I was doing journalism, and I fully intended to do journalism. I was like, hey, I'm good at graphic design. I might as well try to get involved. So I sent a bunch of emails out, similar to Josh, and I got connected with first the basketball team, and then later the full athletic department. And really just thinking this is a fun, exciting thing. I could say I was at the athletic department, I'm part of the team, this is cool. But never thinking it was a career, but I kept doing it, and when I started in 2013, and I can name probably 10 schools that had graphic designers. Now every school has a graphic designer, but then it really didn't seem like a viable career. But as I kept going and getting through school, I was like, okay, people are doing this more and more. Tennessee had one designer when I started. By the time I ended, they had 2 designers and a graduate assistant. So when I graduated, I thought, I think I want to do this. I had some opportunities to go to different schools, and kind of last minute a job opened here, and I really love it here, and so I just stuck around, and I've been here ever since. That's kind of how it worked out.
I just want to say something real fast. I walked one to Evan to really have a huge storyline set up. That Evan and I are best friends and have been, we've grown up together, and he's the one that sent the email first. Got it.
I thought you were trying to like hide it.
No.
It's something else. It's in out the morning, you try. I don't want to associate.
That's great. So, all right, what do we have from the audience?
So we now have 2 questions, the same first one first, and he said, whatever to get started in this field.
I can take that one. The answer is no, but the answer is also yes. No, in that I've seen people that have gotten started in the second semester of their senior year and been able to figure it out and get on with a job either full-time right out of college or get into like an internship with a pro team, college team, whatever avenue they want to go. The reason I say yes, it can be too late, is that that's never a guarantee to get into that. Like that just kind of has to fall into place. You kind of have to get a little lucky with that. Getting involved as early as possible is definitely the way to go. I try and tell our students, like, if you're a freshman, like, you need to be looking for internships right then and there. Like, don't wait until you're a junior or senior. It's by the end, you come to me as a junior, it's probably gonna take me a semester to a year to really get you to understand what we're trying to do. And then I have a year with you left, as opposed to if you're a freshman, I have 3 years. And then if you're a senior, I have no time left with you. And I just have to hope I trained you enough that I can get you a position after college. And I'll touch on this more later, when there's an internship question coming up, but like just reaching out to other organizations, if there's something not available at the University of Tennessee.
If you want to elaborate, you can, feel free, I think it's
I
relevant.
don't know if you're gonna ask the question.
Okay, yeah.
I'll elaborate.
Yeah, go ahead.
They were all of them. So one thing I want to push for y'all, and I'm gonna push this when teaching a class next semester. My class is gonna be very specific towards what I do in sports PR. There are a lot of opportunities around this area. I've had to turn back a lot of students this semester. So when I took over the student program last year, we had 3 returning students. COVID killed our student intern program. And I did not know that when I volunteered to take it over. I was very excited. And then about a week before students were supposed to start showing up, I was like, hey, how many people do we actually have come in? They're like, we have 3. I was like, oh, that is not gonna cut it when football comes around. So I went in full on panic mode, recruited a bunch of people. We have 17 now, so that is a great spot to be in. We have 3 student riders. We're in a really good spot. But the problem is now I'm at a point where I can't really take on anybody new this semester. I've had a few people reach out in the last month and a half. And it's like, I want to try and bring you on, but the problem is, like, if I bring you on, that's going to take away from someone that's already been here. We returned a lot of our students from last semester. And so that gets really tough. But then don't just stop if someone turns you down and says, I don't have space. Like, come back in a year. Don't be like, okay, well, I'll wait a year. Wrong. That's the wrong thing to do. Within like 45 minutes of here, you have the Tennessee Smokies off of the exit at Sevierville, which is minor league baseball. You have the Ice Bears, which is semi-professional hockey. You have Maryville College, which is a D3 school, which is 20 minutes into Maryville. You have Carson Newman, which is a high-end D2 school, just 45 minutes up the road. Like, if something's not, I know Tennessee's like high. When I came here, I was like, I want to work at Tennessee. That's why I came here. I get it. But not always will that be an opportunity. So go find those other opportunities to fill in the gap until there is an opportunity in Tennessee. Cause I promise you, you go get like experience. Oh, and I forgot, there's a new soccer team that's semi-professional or maybe professional, I don't really know exactly. But like, all those have opportunities within the fields we were talking about today. Don't waste a year of your college career not intern. Yeah, I'm not saying like go kill yourself. I'm not saying work a full-time job with these teams. Like get experience. Because when the time comes, if you have experience with a team like that, or like any sort of organization in sports, high schools even. You can go, we have several big time high school programs right here. Like, just ask them. They need help. Find experience. Like I promise you, if you have experience working in sports, you show up to like apply for a job with me. I'm gonna look at that versus someone telling me that they work at Food City, which is what I did. Yeah, and that's how I got lucky. Don't waste time and try and get involved as early as possible. But going back to the original question, it is not ever too late. It just, you may have a harder path to getting where you never get to.
There are tons of questions related.
Oh, right. Yeah. Got it.
And so this is for station. It says, what are the typical game making platforms?
For me, very different for my students, so we won't talk about that. But for our students, so you come in and it's like you come in usually 4 to 5 hours before broadcast. Students are only crewed for the broadcast, so it revolves around what sporting events that we have. We cover baseball, softball, men's and women's basketball, soccer, and volleyball. So tomorrow night we have a soccer game. It's digital, which means it's gonna be on the app, so you can watch it there. So our students are gonna come in 4 hours before. So you come in and you prepare, and that just depends on what your role is. So if you're a replay operator, you're gonna build different tape elements. If you're a graphic operator, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna build your graphics. If you're on camera, you're gonna come in early and you're gonna build up your camera. And so you use that time prior to the broadcast to get all those things done. And then you stay for the remainder of the game, obviously. You don't just set up. So you work the game. So if you're the graphics operator, you're pitching your graphics that you built pre-game. If you're on camera, you're getting the best shots that you can get. If you're on replay, you're sitting there and you're saying, hey, I had that dunk right here, let's show it. So you're using the time that you had previously to pitch all of your things when you're on air. And then after the game, if you're on camera, you have to tear down. If you're in the control room, you usually just kind of, shut down your machine or whatever, and then you can go. So a typical shift, I say shift, could be anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. It depends on how long the game might last.
So next question, it says, and Josh talked more about the internship, which you already, but it says specifically how to apply.
How to apply? Yes. So there is you will Google intern with the balls. There is a link that'll pop up on utsports.com, and it has several different areas. As I found out before this, broadcasting and VFL films may not be included, but that's going to get added tomorrow. But there you check these little boxes, and it will, whatever you check the box to, once you fill out the application, it's only 3 questions, submit your like resume, portfolio, whatever you have. Once you hit submit, they'll send an email to all those people. Now, I'm going to say this because as the student intern person for my area, don't necessarily expect an email back immediately. As some people have figured out, I get a little busy because sports just geared up. I have a lot going on with football, helping out, and then my sports are getting ready to get started. So I'm kind of all over the place. And if it slips under the rug, like that's part of it. Like send it again or send a follow-up email. That I'll say too. You really want to step above and beyond, don't send it through the email link or the intern for balls. Look up the athletic staff directory. You want anywhere in the country in collegiate athletics, just type in Tennessee athletics staff directory. And I promise you'll get every person's email in every field. Now, I'm gonna tell you this, don't email the coaches because they probably aren't going to respond to you. They don't really check their email, spoiler alert. They're busy coaching. But either of those options, if you want to get into the professional area, like NFL, MLB, NBA, that gets a little bit harder. They don't necessarily publicize that stuff as much. So for that stuff, there's different websites. There's Teamworks Online does a lot of the professional internship applications. Now, when they come open, whenever they have a job, you may check today, and there may not be anything on there. You may check I mean, obviously be smart about when you're applying, if you wanna work in the NFL, don't apply at the beginning of the season, you're not gonna be there checking the spring versus and early summer, that's when they start posting their jobs, looking for these kids that are gonna take their seasonal internships, things like that. But intern with the balls or the athletic staff director.
Right.
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, you got some more. I'd much rather hear student questions than mine.
Kind of what?
Oh,
So this for station.
yeah.
There's no broadcasting only have to get on air personality or what are other roles are there behind the scenes?
Yeah, so, in the live broadcasting realm, there are a ton of roles behind the scenes. So replay operators are, and all of these positions that I'm about to tell you about, ESPN is regularly hiring for these positions. So, replay operators, and I mean, that's self-explanatory. If something happens in a broadcast, we literally have students who are sitting in the back of the room that I'm telling them, hey, I want 3 looks of that from this angle, roll it really fast or roll it slow, whatever it is. So we have people that are sitting there. Their main job is to replay. Graphic operators, ESPN is huge on graphics. They push that all the time. They're also really looking for female graphic operators. So if you're a female and you're in the graphics world at ESPN, they love you. But so your job is to build graphics pregame, you're following storylines, you're following trends, you're coming up with your own ideas during the game and building those graphics. So graphics operators, replay operators, anyone who knows audio, audio operators, they are, I mean, they're gems because it's so hard to find a really good audio guy or girl. So they're always hiring for audio, they're always hiring for audio operators. Technical directors is a really skilled position. That person is literally pressing the button to get what you see on air. So when you see a graphic, there's a guy or a girl that's pressing a button for that graphic to go on. They're pressing the button for the replay to go over air. They're pressing the button to switch the camera. Producers and directors, again, I'm a producer, I have a director. We have students who are learning how to produce and how to direct. Those are positions behind the camera. And those are your 2 top positions also in your control room. Camera operators at the venue. So again, you're just getting all of your shots in game. Those are positions that ESPN regularly hires for. Assistant audio guys, engineers, there's so many positions, and those are just the ones that I work closely with. When ESPN rolls in a truck, a bigger production, they have even more positions that they're looking for. On the post-production side, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but on the post-production side, you have your editors, you have videographers, you have team reporters, because I also work in conjunction with BFL Films. And I mean, every team now, almost every school, I feel like has a team reporter. I know a lot of people want to be on air, but if you do want to be on air, I'll take a second just to say, learn everything else. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't just say, I want to be on air. I want to be, Aaron Andrews, Maria Taylor, whoever it is. Learn everything. It's so helpful, especially in a control room. If let's say you're on air and you ask for a graphic and it doesn't happen, at least like what could have happened in the control room, right? Like, you're not getting upset because, oh, they didn't have my graphic. It's, well, I know there's a lot going on in there. So there's a reason why that graphic didn't come on there. But anyway, so there are so many positions behind the scenes that ESPN is looking for and that you guys can take advantage of because of Driving.
All right, next question.
Real quick, Uki, can I just jump in with on that? In terms of working with you, Stacia, on those kinds of positions, when do those come up, or when can students apply?
So we usually hire now, like at the beginning of the semester. We're actually going through our interviewing process right now. And because we get so much interest, we're actually probably going to do another round, but it'll be later in the semester. We're not sure when that will be just yet. But that will happen, and then we'll probably actually do a round in the spring. But the easiest way to apply is really just to shoot me an email. Gonna get added to intern. So that will actually probably be the easiest way after we get added to that tomorrow. But normally it's really just word of mouth. We post flyers. Our students that we already have, they tell us about, hey, my friend is really interested, and we just say, bring them in, we interview them, whatever it is like that. But my email or intern with the ball, I'm gonna start mentioning that, intern with the ball.
Yeah. And I think if you can't get on with Stacia at first, thinking about TVC. Volunteer channel is a great way to get all of those positions you mentioned, maybe not all of them, but most of them, behind the camera as well. I think sometimes students think they only have on-air positions downstairs in the studio, so think about that as well as an opportunity. And they, you don't have to be a CCI major. It's, I mean, they're open to all majors, down there, and Clint is amazing. Just like all our panelists, Clint is very passionate about his work too, and is a great mentor for students. So, all right, back to Ruby.
Thank you for reading that. Also, going to be in front of the camera. I'm not listening. So is there, how do we make this connection, in order to get involved with the sport? I think you already alluded to that, but I would say that talking about outside of Tennessee, like with other sports teams, there's who do they contact, who do we get in contact with?
Yeah, since I've already spearheaded this whole process, if you can't find their contact by looking at their website, so almost every organization you're gonna look at has their own website. Now, don't be fooled by the side website, so Google Pulse 24/7 is not the official Tennessee website. UTsports.com is. You gotta find the actual website and then try and find their staff directory. If it's not there, then it gets a little bit more complicated, but the one thing you could try. And I don't have to throw everybody up here under the bus, not really, but just bear with me, reach out to us and see if we have contacts with these organizations. Like, especially if you've already reached out to me and you're like, hey, can I do something? I'm like, no, I don't really have any spots. And then if you try and want to get on with the Ice Bears or the Smokies, or Maribel College, I have contacts with the Smokies and Maribel College. Ask me and I can help put you in touch with some of these people if you guys are, if you're struggling to find it. Now, you may not know who works in those positions, but we at least can then try and like assist you with finding that stuff. My main goal, I love student internship programs. I tell every student that comes into our office and applies, I'm like, hey, listen, if you hate media relations, I get it's not for everybody. Like, let me know, I'll gladly push you somewhere else. So that anywhere you feel like you really want to pursue, like I will put you in touch with any person on our athletic department, to the best of my ability. I can't promise they'll bring you on, I don't know what their availability is. Like, I want you guys to succeed. If I was in y'all's same exact spot, I just like that the area I joined was the area I stuck with.
And with Knoxville Ice Bears, we also have contact with this also. If you reach out to. So it says, are there any student clubs on campus that you recommend getting involved with, or that you were part of? Student clubs.
The sport management program has something called Partners in Sports that I don't think is exclusive to them. I'm almost positive it's not. Like you just look at Partners in Sports and the sport management or in the recreation sport management program, I think you should be able to find the people that are over that. If not, if you'll reach out to Devin or my email is josh.lively@tennessee.edu. It's pretty easy to remember, it's right there. If you'll email me, I can put you in touch with someone in that. They will send out updates of availabilities that are open from time to time. They also post about their alumni network. It's a really good way to connect. They'll do kind of small panels like this throughout the semester, and then they will do a really big fall. Well, I think they still do it. They did it when I was in grad school, but I don't really know if they still do it or not post-COVID. They do like a big fall get together in the stadium. And they would bring in like 4 or 5 different panel speakers from all ends. Like one of them was Albert Ainsworth, who was a former Tennessee football player, defensive tackle, turned pro. One of them was like an agent. We had a couple of like senior admins from the athletic department. Like I would say, get involved with sport management. They'll have small opportunities here and there, but that's a good place to get started. I don't know of any others. Maybe the journalism and electronic or CCI. We'll do it.
Yeah, our new concentration. How about clubs that you guys were a part of? Evan, Jess, anything that you guys did? Like,
I would say maybe not clubs, but similar. There's a lot of classes in CCI. There's a video production class, there's graphic design class. That's their word. Digital art. There's writing classes, those classes. Especially at least in my area, graphic design and introduction, like, they're gonna build your skills from the ground up. So they're a great place to start.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
I actually didn't get involved in a lot of clubs. I got my position in the athletic department, and that's literally where I spent
your
all my
time.
time. Yeah.
Same station, finish my internship, I guess, with fun. Well,
Yeah. It's involvement though, right? I mean, you've had something to focus your interest. That's great. That's good. Okay, what do we have? Any? All right, Lauren, yeah.
So this is back to Josh. Is your class week here, but and all level class for,
What level? 300?
yes, so junior, senior.
Yeah. So no, I think it is going to be a 200 level. I think that was what we landed on. The goal may be eventually to try and expand it to where it's kind of like a 3-part class. So 100, 200, 300, but that may be way down the line. That may never happen. They may never let me teach you after this semester. We're gonna find out. But the reason I did 200 was because like I've said, I didn't want to wait and do 300 and then only be seniors and juniors. Why? Because I've already told you, don't wait to get involved. So I wanted the opportunity that maybe if a freshman is like, I doubt a freshman will get in the class because I kind of speculate that they'll probably be full. There's probably only like 20 or 30 spots max. So I figure it'll probably like go quick since there's not really anything like it in the PR program right now. But I wanted to be like sophomores to be able to get the opportunity. And another thinking I had with this class, like I said, I don't really have spots in media relations right now. I'm really kind of stuck. But if I do a class, then I can teach 20 people exactly what I do on a daily basis. You won't get the experience of working it full time every day in that lake run, but I can explain to you every detail, every like skill you would need that when you leave the class, you can be like, hey, I did this for this class, like this is how I work with. He was the assistant media relations director at the University of Tennessee. Like that was kind of my whole vision for the class when I pitched it. Took 20 minutes to pitch the idea and for them to go with it, which may be a little concerning. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. This is a good college. Yeah, I wanted people to be able to get involved sooner rather than later on it. So that's why we kind of landed on 200 level.
Right. So, another question, say, in general, how do you get an internship when you have no experience?
This is a good one. This is a good one.
I'll take this one.
I mean, I feel like for what I do, it's a little different. You're not expected to know everything when you walk in the door. We do a lot of teaching, in my area. Broadly speaking, it will obviously be much harder for you to get an internship without experience, but the best thing that you can do is really just try to sell yourself. Sell yourself in the sense of, what all your qualities are, like tell them what you're willing to do, being open-minded, letting them know that you're willing to learn and you do the smallest tasks that there is until you're able to, kind of branch out on your own and do what you need to do.
I think too, in our department, like, we don't expect you to have marketing experience, especially as a freshman or a sophomore, so that's not necessarily that we don't look at experience, but when you're applying to work with us, it's not necessarily based on what experience you have. It's like I said, we don't really expect that. It's once we interview you and talk to you, and then once you start working for us, it's like seeing what you bring to work every day, and whether we're gonna ask you to come back, or it's kind of what you put into it after, from that point, once we do hire you. So some areas don't necessarily have to have as much experience. You have some experience, but we understand that.
How can we apply for a position with you, Jess?
The same
Way
way through,
Okay.
through intern walls, yeah, or reach out to me and, go from there.
And what is the timeline with this internship? That's one of the questions. The internship is like how long, summer, spring, whatever.
I would say, once you're in, you're in. I mean,
Yeah.
and if you want to be in this field, like most students, when they start, they usually go through their entire career in athletics.
Yeah.
I mean, we work 365 pretty much, and our students, I mean, they don't work every day, but the athletic department operates 365 days a year, so.
There's something to do every day for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of heard Stacia, did you say something about studying when you're done, like not studying? Did you say that? I thought you said something like that. It seems like it's a very hands-on experience if you work with any of these folks. And so I was just wondering if maybe you might share some things. I think Jess, you mentioned if we keep you on or not. What are some things that you've seen that maybe might not be behavior that you or professionalism that you would like to see, or that maybe you've seen through your experiences with other interns?
Yeah, I think,
Reasons for not coming back.
yeah, like rolling up your sleeves and being willing to do things that you may necessarily not want to do, like it may not be glorious to set up a tent in Ball Village when it's 100 degrees outside, but like that's part of it. Like not everything we do is glorious. It may not be fun to sit there and roll 1,000 t-shirts for a t-shirt toss. Like it's just kind of part of it. So if you feel like you're too good to do any of that, then this is not the field for you. Because like I said, there's parts of our job that is not glorious, but that's just part of the job. And I feel like if you're willing to do those things, then you're passionate enough to want to be successful and want to do the things that maybe are a little more glamorous. But if you got to start from the bottom. Like all of us are willing to put up tents in 100-degree weather. Our head of external walked around teaching people how to download their tickets, and it's just like part of the culture. Like that's just what it is. Like, none of us are too good to do anything. So you got to kind of have that mentality to be willing to go out and do whatever it takes to help our department be successful.
That's a great answer.
One thing I would say too is just be a problem solver, right? Like just be smart. Don't automatically like, oh, something happened, let me run to the next person. See if you can figure it out first. Take some time, right? Obviously there are situations where you do need help in figuring something out, but it's because of everything that we all have on our shoulders and everything that we're working on, it's an added weight if you have like students or interns who don't take a second just to like think about, try to figure out a problem, if that makes sense. So, and also doing the job for the right reasons. So we don't want students who just want to come and hang out with the athletes. We want students who want to come and do the work.
So Jess, this is for you. It says, what is like an internship position? What does that feel like? What would a student worker be doing?
Yeah, so our students help us out on game day. Mostly, there is office work where they help us prep things for game day. Like we have to go out on campus and promote to students like, hey, this giveaway is happening at men's basketball. So like they're kind of our hands and feet to the student body for promoting game day during the office hours. And then on game day, I'm essentially stuck to a chair on headset with everybody like calling the game, like, hey, this video is coming up, all of this stuff. So I have to have students that kind of help me, again, be my hands and feet, like, hey, we're having second media timeout as a t-shirt toss. So they've got to make sure that they're paying attention, have a t-shirt toss, get into spirit and all that kind of stuff. So they help us. They're essentially hands and feet on game day, a different event. So that game day looks different at football than it does at men's basketball or women's basketball. At football, like I mentioned, game day help is setting up in Ball Village, our band tailgate center, setting up tents, tables, that kind of stuff on game day. So it looks different for different sports, but there are.
All right, next question. If we apply for internship right now, would you recommend selecting spring or summer internship?
I would say spring simply because, like I said, we're finishing up like our interview process right now. But I mean, while it's early, it's kind of late. I don't know if that makes sense, but definitely spring at this point for my department.
And there's still events in the spring, so you get more experience. In the summer, there's not, I mean, there's still a chance to get experience, but we're not actively, there's not active events. So.
I'll add one caveat to this. If you live locally, like within an hour's drive, you should apply for the fall because there's gonna be a period between Thanksgiving and y'all return at the end of January, where a lot of you guys are probably gonna go home that is nowhere close to Knoxville. Last year, we had 3 students that I bet worked every basketball game, men's and women's, for the entire month of December and the first 3 weeks of January, because everybody else was gone. So it is a little bit of an advantage to live locally because especially now, last year when they extended it 3 weeks to put in that winter mini term. I didn't expect, I didn't realize that was coming until I started asking all my students, hey, when are you gonna be back? I thought they were gonna start January 7th. No, it was like January 23rd, and that really, I was like, oh, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for basketball staffing during all this time. So if you live locally, that's a little bit of advantage, and I would still put ball, just in case.
And then you have a question. It says, so what is like digital branding and design? What does that entail? What are the things you do?
So graphic design is basically what it is. We all have fancy titles that stop me and say, what you can do. That's everybody in the whole athletic department. Basically I do graphic design. And the digital branding part of it means that I come up with what I call our look for every year. So every sport, every season, we have a look for that sport for that season. And that's just kind of the way we design things, the elements we use, the way we style the photos. So that's basically.
We have one more question. Yeah, okay, yes.
One more question. So for station, it says, how soon can you get involved as a student in your work with SEC network?
So as soon as we hire students, we expect you to come in and start shadowing. The process moves actually fairly quickly once you've been hired. You come in, you start shadowing. Next time you come in, it's like, hey, actually sit on there for a set if it's volleyball. Get on camera or sit on the bug, which is this conference score. And then from there, if you do well, next game, if it's just like on the watch app, then we'll put you on there for a game and see how you do. So, I mean, it's one of those things where we have so many events, we have to try to get people trained as quickly as possible.
Yes, I don't think it was on.
Yeah. All right, I do want to open the floor too, in case something came up that I want to touch on.
Or if I didn't read your question.
Or if, yeah, we missed it, because we're human. Yeah.
Are there any really photography decisions?
Yes, so we're not the only people that make up the communications. We're just the people that I and other people that help.
This is good.
Yeah,
Thanks,
volunteer.
Josh. Yes, yes.
We also
Tell
have
us
social
about
media
everything.
department, which is headed by Kellen Heiser. We have photography, which is headed by Andrew Person. And they take interns. Photography usually helps to have experience in it. I'm not really sure what his staffing is. I think he is still taking interns. Maybe not, don't quote me on that. I think social media is currently packed. But again, they should be on, they're on that email link in terms of the balls, submit for the spring or whatever. They may reach out to you. There's also, Stacia works for broadcasting side of our video department. We also have VFL Films, which does a lot of creative videos that you see on social media, things like that. Like technically outbound ticket sales is part of communications, but that's kind of pretty like niche compared to what we're doing in communications. Anybody else communications that I'm missing? I don't think so.
There's definitely other avenues in that like part too that don't fall under the communications umbrella. Like fundraising, that's they call it self-efficiency fund. That's a huge part. If you want to be an athletic director, it should all start in athletic fundraising. Things like trainers, event management, they kind of make sure all our events go over smoothly. There's opportunity. I think event management on the tournament falls from. Tennessee, I'm not sure if I get involved, but like Josh said, every athletic department in the country has a staff director on their website. And that's a great place to find. What we get connected with.
I have a question. And so would you recommend like a student that is not interested in athletics, but they want to get experience in just like the media, graphic design, and whatnot? Would you say you should still reach out and intern?
Yeah, I tell our students, we have plenty of people who have come through and they graduated, they went and did something totally different than media relations, and that's okay. I get it. Now, I do, right now in college athletics, there's probably more jobs available than there's ever been. Just because you're starting post-COVID, you had like a big wave of people kind of be like, you know what, I want to spend more time with families. So there's just been different reasons that people are kind of starting to get out, but there's jobs opening. And the problem is, at the high end level like Tennessee, we probably would really struggle to find someone to like hire for our positions But you're seeing a lot of these lower level Division I and then down from there are really struggling to find, like, there's opportunities, anywhere. And so with that, my now focus is I want the student interns that I have, if they want to continue on, I owe it to them to put them in the best position possible. When they graduate, I'm gonna get them a good job, and help them achieve their goals. But at the same time, I know that there's gonna be people that come through my office that don't wanna do this for a career, and that's totally fine. Like, at the end of the day, as long as they're helping our office achieve our goals, promoting the programs, like, then that's all we ask for. Because our student interns, we couldn't do a lot of things we do without them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for the station. So you mentioned that if you get hired on for the internship, it'll start off pretty quick. From somebody like you doesn't have that much like experience, you offer any like incentives or anything to the environment?
Yeah, so we allow students to come in and shadow, so we'll say like, hey, these are the positions that we offer. What sounds interesting? You might say, oh, replay sounds great. I say, okay, for these 2 games, you're gonna sit with this replay operator, you're gonna pick their brain, you're gonna ask them every single thing that they're doing. You're gonna get on the machine, you're gonna just play with it a little bit. And then maybe like that second or third game, we actually sit you in the chair and you actually get to do it just for a little bit to see what it's like. And it's always in situations, it's not gonna be like when we have an ESPN printout or when it's like on ESPN2. It'll be a situation to where you can make a mistake and it's okay. But definitely you shadow, we train before we say, okay, let's go. I will say there has been a time or two, and we've got a couple students in here that can attest to it, where we're in a pinch and you do just have to hop in there. But we know it's your first time and we're not gonna, yell at you or get upset if you do a mistake.
That's great. That's good to know. Yeah. In the back.
You said that you like just do graphic design, like how do you get it? Like, what if someone wants to put like their designs into the ball shop? Like, what is that process?
That'd be, so the ball shop is separate from that athletic department. I was trying to take that directly. They do, because they sell UTK athletics here, like work hand in hand with them. So that's how we're involved, but, they take a lot of students. Sometimes, I know I've seen some there. They have their own staff. I'm not sure how to get in contact with them, but I'll be out.
We have a design contest. We do want to talk about the design contest real quick, don't we? Just as Dr. Julie Longmire, he's our assistant dean for undergraduate program.
Yeah, so this this fall, we need your all's help. We are looking for some cool sticker designs for each of our majors and our college as a whole. So if you do have an interest in graphic design, we're also going to run a t-shirt contest because we want to see different designs that you all have that represent our college and all of its majors. So we'll be sending out more information in your emails in the next week or so about the different requirements for that and how long it's going to run. And then we're going to kind of narrow down the submissions, and then we'll let the CCI students vote on their top choices for stickers and a t-shirt, and we're hopeful that we can have those t-shirts printed up for our students for the spring. So, yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Is that contest like strictly for CCI students? What? It's geared towards CCI students, but as long as the content is CCI content, we would be open to any student submitting.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Well, this was excellent. I have to say, but I'm biased. Just kidding. I knew Josh would have jokes, so that's a good thing. It's 6:04. We had allotted time until 6:30, so I want to give you some extra time with our panelists because they're planning to stick around until 6:30. So if you can stay and you have questions, you want to ask one-on-one, we want to give you that opportunity. But thank you so much for coming out. Let's thank our panelists for a great. Sometime takeaway where we can take action to get started after this. If sports really is a passion and interest of yours, you want to facilitate that. So thank you again. Have a great rest of your night. And we recorded this, so we will share that out with folks too. All right. Okay, go team, go Vols.
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it all.
Hi, I